I have always been here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, geeks and nerds, ambassadors everywhere, and welcome to the Ambassadorial Wing. And if this is your first visit to the Ambassador Wing, glad that you are here tonight. Hope you all have had a great week, and we are just a few short days away from All Hallows Eve, and tonight I'm bringing you all another Ambassadors Thriller Thursdays. And tonight we're going to be discussing a all-time favorite film of yours truly, The Ambassador, John Carpenter's The Thing. And yeah, it has been a very long week. Even though my work week usually runs only 5 days, a 4 day stretch is often very, very long, particularly for this time of year, and particularly when you work in retail like yours truly does. But despite all that, I am glad to be back with y'all live tonight. It's always good to get back into the wing, to just kind of sit back, relax, kick back, and discuss some favorite discuss some of our favorite films, some of our favorite movies, our TV series, and all these sorts of things that we love, the things that we enjoy. And as if this is your first visit to the Ambassador Wing, I hope you enjoy your visit. I hope you all have a good time. Hope you all enjoy my thoughts, and for anyone that will pop in later on as the stream goes along. And if you come across this video in the replay and you have not become a part of the Ambassador Wing and you enjoy what I'm doing, or you enjoy this stream in particular, consider hitting that subscribe button and become a part of this community, because there is always room for another ambassador in the ambassadorial wing. But that being my plug, that being my shill, as we all us YouTubers often do, where I don't stand on a whole lot of ceremony here. I don't say a bunch of hyperbole. Here there is no nonsense. Here there is no silliness or goofiness. Well, there is. This isn't a board meeting. This is a live stream telling you about movies. And as I said, tonight we're going to be talking about John Carpenter's The Thing. And for those of you who have followed me for a very long time, you all know John Carpenter is by far one of my all-time favorite directors. Granted, he hasn't done, or he's gone kind of into semi-retirement in terms of directing and writing and so on. But John Carpenter has always been a favorite director of mine. And tonight we're going to discuss I think, one of his best films. And, my exposure to John Carpenter was when I was relatively young, truth be told. And I remember the first film of his I ever got a chance to see was the original Halloween, the very first one that came out, well, quite literally the year I was born in 1978. And I got to watch a lot of John Carpenter's films in the years after they originally released, particularly when Blockbuster was still a thing. When you could go to your local Blockbuster, you could rent a copy of the thing. You could even rent a copy of the original black and white thing that starred James Arness as the creature himself. Although the old black and white version of the thing kind of missed what its true intention was, but at the same time, there was a certain charm, a certain spookiness to the original thing. And the thing, what I really appreciated about John Carpenter was he wasn't trying to remake the wheel. He was trying to simply give his own take on it. And, you know, I have watched the original black and white thing numerous times, and it is campy, it is cheesy. The design for the creature isn't all that inventive. It looks like a well, kind of a knockoff of Frankenstein's creation, the creature from Frankenstein. But when John Carpenter decided to do the thing, he wanted to bring his own spin to it. And not only that, he wanted to tell a much more psychological story, really delve into the idea of this team in the Antarctic being isolated from the rest of civilization. Because let's be honest, you have to be a very rare breed to live in Antarctica, live on a research base, essentially. And honestly, for me, John Carpenter's adaptation of the thing, which interestingly enough is actually based on a short story called Who Goes There or Who Is There. And I think one of the really interesting things about the thing is the fact that not only is it a very psychological horror story, but it also is it is rather gruesome. And I want to send a shout to the chat to a dear friend, one that I've seen more often in the last few weeks, Jeff B. Jeff, it is good to see you as always, bud. And thank you for being here tonight. I hope you enjoy yourself and hope you're having a good week, my friend. But, the interesting thing for me with the thing, yeah, Jeff B. It did me as well, honestly. Yeah, the black and white thing monster reminded me of the Mummy. It kind of reminded me more of Frankenstein's monster, as I had said. If you hadn't been here, well, as I said that just a few minutes ago, because unfortunately, back in the 1950s, with all these old horror movies, they didn't have the budget to do the stuff that we can do today. And granted, in 1980. I'm thinking it's 1986 or something like that when John Carpenter's the thing came out. They had a lot more to play with in the special effects department, and they went to the full nines for the design and the special effects of this version of the thing. And what we get is a balance between, like I said, a psychological horror film and a pure horror movie in terms of just how grotesque and how monstrous the creature in the thing truly is. And for those of you who may not know, back in 2011, and I remember this very vividly because that was the year I divorced my now ex-wife. They did a it wasn't when I saw the ads where I'm like, well, are they just doing a re-release of the one from 1980? But John Carpenter went back and he actually did a prequel to his original or his adaptation of The Thing. And it was simply titled The Thing. And what I found interesting was this was in fact a prequel. It tells of what happened at the Norwegian base. And I remember going to see it at the theaters because at the time I was staying with Mother Ambassador because, well, like I mentioned, I left um, my ex-wife, and I walked to the theater because it was only a few blocks away from where my mother lived at the time. And I went in, got my ticket, and I was like, I'm just gonna go into this thing kind of cold. And I sat back and I watched. I was like, "Oh, so that's what they did here. They did a prequel to the original." And I have to admit, it was very atmospheric. I would say actually the effects for the prequel to the thing were actually just as good as the 1980s version, if not maybe a little bit better. But, you know, I think they were very effective in recapturing that psychological tension amongst the team there on the in the Norwegian base. And I kick myself now because unfortunately I kind of missed my opportunity. But a few weeks ago while I was at work, I had noticed that they had come out with a series of Neko um, figurines. And for those of you who know, Neko does really good sculptures and everything of different movie characters and so on. And they had actually done one of Kurt Russell's character, McCready, from The Thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have this. But at the time, couldn't quite afford it. But I have to admit, kind of getting back to the 1980s thing, what Carpenter was able to do was take a story that had been told once before, but add several different layers to it. Because the thing we have to remember is this movie takes place during the 80s, the decade of the 80s when the Cold War is still going on. And there's still a lot of tension and there's still a lot of mistrust amongst the nations. And he kind of intersperses that into the film itself amongst the uh, team of scientists and facility workers there at the Antarctic, the U.S. research base in the Antarctic. And he also puts a lot of this short story called, if I remember correctly, if I'm remembering, please let me know. The short story "Who Goes There," and you've got this deep sense of isolation. And you have this growing sense of paranoia because much like with what the original invasion of the bystanders was able to do during the height of the Red Scare during the 1950s and 60s, with the whole concept of, well, you never know who could be potentially a communist. What we have with The Thing is the themes of, it's a similar theme in the fact that you don't know who's alien and you don't know who's human. And when you're in an enclosed space with a group of people and you don't know who they say they are or not, that can create a very deep seated sense of paranoia and suspicion, and it can cause you to act very erratically. And what I found of real interest in terms of what Carpenter did with his adaptation of The Thing is he wasn't just telling a pure horror story, although in a lot of ways that's what The Thing is. It is a horror movie. It does have a monster in it, but the monster takes various shapes. I mean, for the first time we see the monster on screen, we don't realize it's the monster. And here's spoilers for a movie that's been out since the I think the early 80s or whatever. The Thing comes to the American research base as a dog. And what they are able to do with prosthetics and with animatronics for the transformation of that dog was very impressive. Very, very, very impressive considering the time period. And not to mention, you've got, I think, some of the best cinematography considering this all takes place in the Antarctic. Not sure who is a pod person. I know, right? Yeah, Jeff B. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, honestly, can I get back on point here? Um, the interesting thing for me was with the cinematography is this whole diversification of how do you lake snow and the interior of the space, which is very drab, look interesting and look cost. And I think one of the great things that was done with that set of that base was to make it feel claustrophobic, make it feel tight quarters, make it feel very unsettling and uneasy. That for me was one of the really great things about this film that Carpenter did. Now, granted, he didn't do all this on his own. He as always he had a really solid team, a very solid crew, and obviously he had a good cast. I mean, he had his one main guy, Kurt Russell, back, who he had worked with quite extensively for many years up until this point. And the kind of sad thing was the when the thing came out originally, it did not do well at the box office at all. And yet it has grown a consistent cult following throughout the years. And I, for one, am very glad to see that, because that's how a lot of movies from the past have been able to carry on in spite of the fact that originally they didn't do particularly well at the box office. That for me is the marvelous thing about home video, is the fact that you can have a movie that completely and totally bombs, and yet it develops a cult following in the aftermath of that. And the thing is a testament to that whole idea, because here's a movie that completely and utterly bombed for the studio and for the director, because there were other movies that had more of an appeal to them than the thing did. I mean, let me, give me just a second, guys, because I do want to look a couple of things up here. I should have done this beforehand. I do apologize for not doing so, but I want to know, when did the thing release? Okay. Okay. The thing came out June 25th, 1982, so I wasn't far off. So now the question is, what movies came out in June of 1952? What movies came out in June 1982? 1982. Okay, here we go. Alright, hang on one second, guys. I'm looking this up now. Here we go. Movie Web. Whoa. Okay. I'm actually going to share this so you all can see it. And greetings to the chat. And Leroy, you are not late. You are never late. Hey, Leroy arrives exactly when he means to. And Sci-Fi Nation, Sci-Fi, is good to see you. Sci-Fi. I actually watched this just the other day, and I decided, he's like, you know what? I really, really want to rewatch it again. So I pulled it up. Give me just a minute here, guys, because I've got something I want to share. I just gotta get it on here so that I can. And I'm actually going to use one of the new toys that StreamYard has availed me of. So give me one second here. All right, there we go. Let me turn this off for just a minute so y'all can actually see me. There we go. That's better. Okay. Oh, go away, stupid ads. Don't care about. All right. All right. This is Movie Web. This is the first time I've actually used this website, but hey, it'll be a learning experience for all of us. Okay. The Thing came out June 25th, but here's what came out a few weeks ahead of it, and I imagine was still going on around the same time. Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, June 4th, 1982. You've got the original Poltergeist, another favorite of mine, June 4th, 1982 also. You've got Tootsie, a little favorite cult classic of yours truly, starring Dustin Hoffman, June 10th, 1982. And then, of course, you've got, and I remember going to see this, E.T., the Extraterrestrial, June 11th, 1982. So, unfortunately, the Thing had it had some very, very, very stiff competition. Okay, let's see. You've got let's see, Grease 2, meh. Firefox with Clint Eastwood, June 13th. Secret of Nim, June 17th, 1982. Annie, eh. Let's see. Okay, and then of course you've got, well, Blade Runner, another favorite of yours truly. June 5th, 1982, and then something I've never even heard of, The Last American Virgin. When did that come out? June 26th, 1982. So, unfortunately, for The Thing, it had its work cut out for it. Oh, Sci-Fi's here. Hey, hold on. No, it's okay. Sci-Fi, give me a cement. I'll bring you in. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Hey, Sci-Fi.
Hey, Ambassador. What's up?
Well, just talking about The Thing.
Yeah, I literally almost watched this yesterday. Like they literally on Prime, they have like 4 different versions of this. They have the older ones. They have this one. They have the prequel to this one, which I asked you in chat if you knew they made a prequel to this version of it. Which I figured you did.
Well, I actually went to. I don't know if you were in here when I said this, but I actually did go see the prequel back in June of 2011. So
no, I missed that part.
No, it's okay. And I want to say a shout to the chat, Daniel Martin. Daniel, it is good to see it. What is good? I'm off tomorrow. That's what's good. So, but Daniel, thank you for being here, bud. I'm assuming, Sci-Fi, that you have seen The Thing before. The one that John Carpenter did. Let me be more specific.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while, so I'm not going to remember everything off the top of my head.
That's okay.
Something might click in my head like when I see it. But other than that, I really can't give a synopsis or break anything down for you. So I do apologize for that. But like I said, I literally almost watched this yesterday because
you should go. You should go, wow. Dude. You should go watch it. It's worth your time. I mean, yeah. Daniel Martin, very, very well said. The practical effects on John Carpenter's The Thing, chef's kiss. Yep. Sci-Fi. Yeah. Honestly, if you call yourself Sci-Fi Nation, you need to go watch this movie at least once. You watch.
I need to watch every version of this at least once.
Well, you could. Well, here, Sci-Fi. Here's the thing: there aren't necessarily many versions. There's the black and white one that came out like in the 1950s or 60s, and then there's this version that we're talking about tonight, and then there's the prequel that John Carpenter did back in 2011. That's the only versions, quote unquote. But tonight we're just talking about the 1982.
The John Carpenter one. Okay.
Well, both of them were done by John Carpenter.
Well, right, I know, but yeah, you're talking about this version of it, yeah.
But yeah, this movie had a I think at least a top-notch cast. I mean, of course, you've got Kurt Russell. Cast for 4.
I think another thing that's kind of confusing me too is, besides me being super tired, is there was a Vincent Price movie. Uh, I was going scrolling through like the Halloween type movies and on Prime, and they have a Vincent Price movie. I can't even remember the name of it right now. I can pull up Prime and look it up real quick, but they had the black and white version and the restored color version. Um, yeah, I got to look that up. It's going to drive me nuts now.
Well, here is the cast for the John Carpenter's the thing. Of course, you've got Kurt Russell as R.J. McCready. You've got Keith David as Childs. You got Wilford Brimley as Dr. Blair. Richard Masur as Clark. David Clemens as Palmer. Daniel Moffat as Gary. T.K. Carter as Knowles. You got Thomas G. Waits as Windows. You've got Richard DeSant as Dr. Cooper. Let's see who else. Got Pierre Malone, Charles Hallahan, Joel Polis, Norbert Weisser. Oh, I didn't know Adrian Barbeau was in this. Oh, she was the computer voice. Huh. Well, ain't that interesting? Hey, wait a minute. Kurt, how dare you call Adriana Barbeau a bitch? Because he called the computer a bitch. You son of a bitch. Shame on you, Kurt. That's the director's, one-time wife. Daniel, I think you'll really enjoy the prequel, but I would recommend that once you watch the prequel, go watch the original, or go watch the one that came out in '82, because it gives you a good all around sense of the film, for the simple fact that you're only getting half of the story, so to speak. Although, here's an interesting little fun fact that I don't know y'all were aware of. There was actually a alternate ending for the thing. And instead of the ending that we got, where it's just Kurt Russell and Keith David's characters sitting in the ruins of the base waiting for the fires to go out. Let's see. Okay, sci-fi, that's fine, bud. I'll still be here when you get back. So, but yeah, Daniel, honestly, I would recommend. Now, if you want to, you could watch the prequel first and then watch the original, or you could do it backwards. Because honestly, either way works. Because here's an interesting little tidbit about as I was starting to say, what the prequel does, it tells you what happens at the Norwegian base. But if you watch them in reverse order, you get all that good. You see them go to the Norwegian base in the first film, with the one with Kurt Russell, and they find out, you discover what all happened at the Norwegian base before you get to this one, to the American base. So you see them go to the ship. You see them dig the creature out of the ice, and all those other things, which just kind of builds the suspense just a little bit more. But for myself anyway, having seen both films, I think what the prequel does is, I think this was Carpenter's opportunity to go back and revisit an old favorite of his. I don't know if the I don't know if the copyright or whatever on this particular story was coming up, and he wanted to tell something so he could keep the copyright under his name or whatever. But I think what the prequel does is it adds to the world, it adds to the story, and personally speaking, I think it's a good film. So take that for what you will. My opinion is not the final word on anything, honestly. But I did really enjoy seeing what happened at the Norwegian base in the 2011 film, because it just does kind of add to the world, and it really gives you a sense of the scope and scale of this world that John Carpenter created. Something else I will comment on is, as always, Carpenter did the score for this film himself. and Daniel, I can't say I blame you on that one. Myself, yeah, okay. Sci-fi, welcome back, bud.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to double check to make sure my mic is muted.
You were fine, bud. You were fine.
Some stuff that should not be heard on this channel or any other. So,
I understand. Yeah. You're fine. You're fine, sci-fi. So, and Daniel's like, I still prefer to watch the original Star Wars trilogy before I watch the prequels. Daniel, I actually have watched them both ways. Actually, being kind of I guess I'm a screwball or whatever. I like watching them in sequential order from episode 1 to episode 6. And yes, I do watch the prequels. I think there is some good in them. All 3 films. And I mean, that's my take on it. I mean, you don't particularly care for.
I'm not quite old enough to have seen like the first or second one in the theaters. But I do remember seeing the first 3 on TV. And renting them, on VHS tapes back in the day when I was just a youngin'. So, I do have a love for the original 3. And now when the second, 3 came out, which is, I guess, technically 1, 2, and 3 now, I did watch them 1, 2, and 3 when they came out. But I did take the opportunity to watch those 3 and then the original 3, just to see it in context. And seeing as it was done by Lucas, granted, I wasn't as big a fan of the second 3 or first 3, however you want to call them.
The prequels. Just call them the prequels.
Okay. I wasn't as big a fan of the prequels, but the original trilogy made more sense.
Yes, I agree.
Having that background and having the context to watch those in, having seen the prequels.
I do want to bring up Daniel's comment here, and I will bring. What's your opinion on the CGI and the prequel to The Thing? That's the one thing I hear people knock on it for. Honestly, Daniel, the CGI didn't bother me. I mean, Carpenter, he has used CGI before when he did his remake of The Fog. Now, I will say I didn't have necessarily a problem with the CGI effects in the remake of The Fog. It was more so the story was, I think, it was lesser. It wasn't quite as good as the original The Fog film. For the simple fact that the original Fog was more atmospheric, it was more haunting, it was creepier, and you didn't really see the ghosts. And I mean, you did see them in bits and pieces, but I think in this particular case, less was more. And as far as the CGI for The Thing goes, it didn't bother me. Other people didn't care for it. Fair enough. You didn't care for it. That's your prerogative. That's your opinion. You're more entitled to have it. But I think, okay, let me pair this with one of Carpenter's other films that he did a few years before he went into semi-retirement, and that was Ghosts of Mars. Yeah, Daniel, I have to agree with that as well. The tone felt off in the Fog remake. Yeah. Here's the thing with Carpenter. he has gone back to some of his original works, and he's either done prequels to them or he's done remakes. He did one for obviously the Thing. He did a prequel for that, which I thought was actually really good. I'm not saying it was better than the original or the first film, but it was just, I think it was equal. It was good. But the issue with The Fog was it was originally intended to be a ghost story, and it had a very specific tone. It had a very specific tenor to it, and it had a very distinct flow to it. And not to mention, like I said, you had all of these different elements within the original Fog that really added to the story. Obviously, you had Adrienne Barbeau playing her part. You had Hal Holbrook as Father Malone. You even had Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's real life mom, play a part in that film.
Mm-hmm. I love his use of actors and actresses.
Oh, yes.
It's usually top-notch talent. Okay. I think the one exception would be They Live when he had Roddy Piper, but he was like the big thing back then besides Hulk Hogan, so I can't fault him for that.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, and I kick myself for this, I have never actually had an opportunity to sit down and watch They Live all the way through.
You've never seen it? Oh, wow.
I've seen, like I just said, I've seen clips of it, but I have never seen it all the way through from start to finish. I may actually see if I can find it on, I think it's actually on a streaming service that we have, and it's a free one. It might be on there, and I might check it out later this evening or maybe tomorrow at some point. But I think it's one of the only films by John Carpenter that I have never watched.
Oh, I'm telling you, if you love cheesy
I know it's good
80s sci-fi, yeah, it's dude. You know the classic line. Of course, you know the classic line.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm
all out of bubble gum.
Yeah, I know that line. I know that scene. I know that code very, very well. So,
but getting back, no, I just want to say for people that are interested in this movie and the prequel, it is on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch them for free right now.
Yeah. And, I'll bring up Jeff B's comment here real quick. Just give me a second. The practical effects for the 80s thing was top notch. Yes, I would say, like I said, I rewatched this today. I think the effects in 2021, they hold up just as well. I do. I really honestly think that the effects hold up just as well here. And they're just as grotesque. They're just as shocking and jarring. They're just as gruesome. And they're just as unnerving, particularly the scene with the sled dogs. I always hated that scene. Always have. I hate that scene. I hate to hear the one of the few sounds in the world that really sets my nerves on end and just instantaneously pisses me off is to hear a dog yelp or whine or be afraid. That's the one thing that has always bothered me.
In pain or severely afraid.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to send a shout out to the chat, a face I have not seen in a very long time, and it is good to see you, Eastland Burkholder. Eastland, it has been a while. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm hoping you're having a great night. And let's see, I'll bring up Daniel's comment here. Adrienne Barbeau was a woman in the 80s. Yes, Daniel. Yes, she was.
She was hot.
She was a beautiful woman. Yeah.
And welcome, Eastland Burkholder. Great to see you. I usually see you over on Bird Streams and in a couple other places. But hey, great to see you. I'm glad to see everybody over here on Ambassador's channel. This is awesome.
Yeah. Eastland, like I said, good to see you. So thank you for popping in. Praying the final effects look as and age better. CGI effects age badly.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. I'd rather see like effects like that. I'd rather see actual like makeup effects
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that than the CGI most times, because to me, when you put the work and the effort into it, it might cost more now in today's industry compared to then, because it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of done a flip flop. It used to be nobody could afford the computer stuff, right? Because it was in its infancy. So, and now it's so common, it's not even funny. But I think you get
Yeah.
better effects from the actual like hands-on makeup type
Oh yeah.
stuff and animatronic stuff. It just looks better to me on screen than CGI in most instances.
Well, and here's the thing: there is room for both. I think, at least. I think there's room for both. I think both have their place. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. A movie that I just watched, and I'm probably gonna watch again at some point. When I went to see Dune in IMAX, the visual effects they used for that film, you wait about 10 years or so, they will still look just as good. And the makeup effects, especially so. I mean, here's the thing: I do understand what you're saying, sci-fi, and I can't say I necessarily disagree. But I think that where practical effects will fall short, CGI makes the most sense, because there's just some things that practical effects and miniatures and models cannot capture that CGI can. And I will, yes, Ethan, I'll bring up your comment here. Use
Mm-hmm.
CGI where it makes sense.
Where it
Yes.
makes sense, not for the whole darn
Yeah.
movie, right? That's what
No,
I'm
not.
saying. I mean, some movies they like go overboard with the CGI. That's
Yeah, and
what
I
turns
will.
me off to them.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I can't say I disagree with you, but here's the truly great thing about somebody like John Carpenter. He came into the industry when CGI was truly in its infancy, like with the movie, like one of my all-time favorites, Tron. That was CGI very much in its infancy. So they did a lot of practical effects for it. And excuse me. Um
And Tron did it right
what
though.
Yeah, that is true. Tron did it right. But here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting little point with the thing. If they had tried to do the CGI, it wouldn't have looked right, because the CGI just wasn't advanced enough at the time. It simply wasn't advanced so they had to do it with practical effects and puppetry and all those sort of things, and it worked, and it holds up. I mean, you watch that scene where the doctor is using the defibrillator on one of the other members of the team there on the camp, and you see his arms bust through, and you see that massive pair of teeth pop out and bite the doctor's arms off. And you of course you realize in the back of your mind, the realistic part of your mind saying, this isn't real, it's fake. But even so, the reaction and how those arms just absolutely are ripped in two by that powerful set of
Literally, you
teeth.
can see the bone snapping, the blood flying. Yeah, you knew it was
Yes.
fake, but you didn't care because, oh my god, it looked good and it gave you that jump scare they wanted to get out of you. It was awesome, and that was a great thing about movies back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch
Now,
it now, yeah, it's cheesy effects, but you know what? Some of them, most
I
of
would
them hold
not.
up good, but I mean, I'm not saying they don't hold up good, but you can tell it's 80s effects. That's what I mean by cheesy, okay? I'm not saying that in a bad way.
No, I
It's
know you're
just
not. Well, I wouldn't even regard them as cheesy per se, because they do hold up extremely well, because they were well crafted and well made. That's why it holds up as well as it does. So, and I do want to address Daniel Martin's comment here. Dune was magnificent. Every frame of the film could be a painting. And Daniel, I don't know if you heard the news, and this is for everybody in the chat, not just you. The Legendary Pictures, and I believe Warner Brothers won't be far behind. They have greenlit Dune Part 2, so we are going to get Part 2 of Dune by Denis
yes.
Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve.
Yes, I've
And
heard that as well. and they are also working on getting part 3 greenlit right now. So fingers
Possibly.
crossed. Possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly. That's just in the rumor mill, so don't take that as fact. Take it as you will.
If they do Dune Messiah, great. If they don't, if we only get the first book, okay, fine. Although I won't lie, my deep inner geek is like going, dude, do Messiah, do make Dune Messiah, make Dune Messiah, make Dune Messiah, please, for the love of all that is holy, make Dune Messiah.
That's what I'm saying. If you're making part 2, you gotta do part 3. You just got to.
I would not be, this is something I have said before, and I'll say it here again, and it is a position I will always hold to. If they were to do the entire series of the original series of books that Frank Herbert himself wrote through Chapter House, do it. I will support it. I will watch it. And I imagine there are lots of others who will as well, because this is a franchise that has been sitting on a shelf for a very, very long time. And I know it would take a lot of work. And I would even be okay if Denis Villeneuve didn't necessarily direct every single one, but if even he was just a producer or a writer or something, he had somebody else come do the directing, which
or consultant, or he was doing
anything.
some minor script tweaks here and there, being like, no, this needs to be this would be better this way. This is portrayed this way. It'd look better. That type of stuff. Yes, absolutely.
So, and I'll bring up Daniel's comment here, and then we'll get back on the main topic. I heard Bill actually saying the actual actor that put his arms through the guy on the table didn't have any arms. In reality, they used prosthetics for his arms. Daniel, that might be entirely possible. I'd have to do some digging on that. I don't know 100% for sure. So, Jeff B., I told you this, and yes, I will swear here. I told you this Saturday. I'm going to say it again. Yes, you need to fucking see Dune. Now go fucking see it.
Dude, go see it. Go see
Dude,
it, Jeff.
Go get your ass to a theater. It doesn't have to be an IMAX, but now if you can afford to go to an IMAX, go to an IMAX. Or even if you just have it on HBO Max, watch freaking Dune.
Yeah, if you have an IMAX near you, I would suggest that. If you don't, at least watch it on HBO Max.
Yes, watch this film. It is. Why do you think I talk about the good shit here on my channel? Because it's good. I don't talk about crap. I don't talk about drama. I don't talk about drama. I don't talk about crap. I don't talk about stuff that I don't give a rat's ass about. I talk about stuff that I care about, that I'm passionate about. Go.
I don't talk about
freaking see freaking Dune.
Go see Dune. I don't talk about drama,
do it.
But I do watch some cheesy or discuss cheesy stuff on my channel. So that's the difference between me and Ambassador.
No, you sci-fi. You're good, man. Yes, Daniel, as Palpatine would say, do it.
Do it.
No. Do it.
Do it.
When the ambassador swears, you don't mess around. Daniel, you gosh, I don't blaspheme, but yeah, I'll draw off the occasion.
You're gosh diddly darn, you don't swear on Ambassador's channel.
No, you can swear. I don't care. Just don't blaspheme. Quinn's Ideas is a YouTube channel, and Eastland, I will say this: Quinn's Ideas is the YouTube channel and authority on Dune. I am a lightweight compared to Quinn's Ideas. Anytime I need to know something about Dune or Game of Thrones, that's where I go. There are two channels in particular that if I need to know something about something that I don't know about, when it's Dune, I go to Quinn's Ideas. When it's Marvel or DC, I go to Comics Explained. Why? Because these guys are reputable and they know what the hell they're talking about.
Let's get back to the swearing thing for a minute. I have as much respect for not swearing on your channel to the best of my ability as I do with for Life with Matthew. I'm not sure if you watch his channel or not, but
I have heard of it. I haven't had a chance. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I know he's kind of in the realm of Salty Trekker,
Right.
formerly
I
known as
do
Anti
it.
Trekker.
Right. But he does his own thing, and I just try not to, out of respect for him. So I do the same for you.
No, like I said, sci-fi. As long as you don't blaspheme, you can swear. I don't care. I've heard practically everything under the sun. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I watched one of the most profane films in the history of cinema.
Well, watching and coming on somebody's hobby or work, whichever it may be, I still respect that person, right? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
their or your space. And
yeah, no, I get it.
And I get, granted, the word space is overused, but we as creators, our channels are our space. Okay, that's just what it is, plain and simple, right? And I've also been cutting back on the cussing on my own channel. It's just a personal thing with me, so I am trying to put that over on other. Okay, I'll get off it.
Yeah, get off it. I get it. So, Eastland Brookle or Quinn's Ideas is a YouTuber channel and is an authority on Dune. He says the movie is worth watching. He would know. Yeah, Eastland, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. He says, fingers will not type well tonight. Sorry. No, Eastland, you're fine, man. You are fine. I'm understanding what you're saying for the most part, so don't even worry about it. But, one of the other things I brought up before you came in, sci-fi, with this version of the thing, more so than with the original black and white from the 1950s. This is very much a psychological film. It has a very heavy psychological tension to it because you don't know who's who at any given point during the whole film. I mean, for heaven's sakes, during the last scene of the movie, you don't know if either Kurt Russell or Keith David's characters are actually imitations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if
Right.
either one of them is a duplicate of themselves created by the creature, by the thing. And
No, and you're right. And psychological thrillers are, I think, some of the best, type of horror films that there are. Just because it always keeps you thinking, it keeps you guessing, but it stays one step ahead of you the whole time. That's what I love about these type of movies.
yeah, wholeheartedly. And especially during the period when this movie came out, the 1980s, during the height of the Cold War between ourselves and the former USSR. You have a group of men who are in this isolated space or in a very claustrophobic space, and this unknown element is introduced into their midst in the form of this creature, and it really shows just how fragile a construct as society can be and community can be, especially because all these guys start ripping and tearing at one another the instant things start to go sideways. And that's one thing that I found of real deep interest because it speaks very strongly to the human condition. I mean, yes, this is a great horror film in terms of the creature design and how it functions and how it plays throughout the film. But the really good elements of this film, and Eastland just brought it up, is claustrophobia and paranoia. And when you have both those dynamics at play, you got yourself a truly exceptional film. And I say this honestly, I think The Thing is one of John Carpenter's very, very best. So,
Yeah, you put
sci-fi, your
those.
thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say, no, you put those two things together, you have a blockbuster on your hands. I mean, not to shift it to another movie. I'm just going to mention the movie, but Event Horizon. You look at that; it had the same exact elements in it. just about,
Yeah.
right? You're in a but they're in a confined space, but you still had that same element to it, and to me that was an excellent movie as well. But with this, you don't know until you put people in that situation how they're going to react, and the way they reacted in this, I agree with you, Ambassador. It really brings to light the human condition. How would people react if they were put in that situation?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll bring up Daniel's comment here because it kind of speaks to what you were saying. Sci-fi, Eastern Brooklyn are definitely a who's who. Who can you trust? Psychological sci-fi thriller. Yeah. And hey, Jeff, I understand, my friend, and thank you for popping by, bud. And hope you enjoyed the replay. And happy Halloween, boo! And don't eat too much candy over the next few days. And we'll catch you next time. So,
Yeah.
but I think honestly, one of the really cool things about the thing is no matter how many times you watch it, the story is still intriguing. You always find some little thing in it that just like, oh, I never noticed this before. And I don't know, maybe it was just because I was fatigued from work today, but the one thing that I found really aggravating was when the creature was attacking the dogs in the pen, and they were all just standing around. I was actually yelling at the TV, "Move, you freaking idiots! Kill that thing, McCready! You've got a shotgun, blast it in its freaking face, Childs! Get your ass up there with that damn flamethrower and roast that piece of crap. It's hurt enough dogs as it is. Move your asses! What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's like, oh, classic horror
And
movie trope. We're just gonna stand around looking
they're
at
just
it like,
standing there like a pack of like a pack of idiots, and you're like, move your asses.
It reminds me of the counselor scenes in the original Friday the 13th. What's that? Oops, you're dead.
Yeah,
Come
really.
on.
And I'll bring up Easton's comment here because I think this is actually a good one. Our society is civilized, but civilization is like a very thin paint job, and underneath that might not be pretty, the true nature of mankind. Yeah, and Eastland, I do have to agree. In certain respects, that is very true.
Yeah, you
And,
take all of our basic necessities away that we have provided on a day-to-day basis, and what happens? Society breaks down as we know it.
yeah,
Okay,
pretty much.
this isn't a society we lived in 100 years ago where we can just go out and get what we need and do what we have to do. That's not how our society works nowadays. 99% of the people depend on stuff being there to get when they need it. And when that stuff is gone, guess what happens? They're going to revert to their basic human instincts, which is survival.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's unfortunate. And you really see that dynamic at play during the course of the film. Everything's just chilling, everybody's cool, everybody's good. McCree's up in his place playing computer chess with a computer computer program voiced by Adriana Barbeau, and he calls her a bitch. I'm like, you asshole! That's Adriana Barbeau. You don't call her a bitch.
It's
Although
just a computer.
yeah, computers don't have feelings. We say that now. In a few years, for all we know, computers may have feelings, and they may decide, yeah, humanity was a bad idea. Time to go poof.
Yeah, they might go Skynet on us. You never know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or go like the machines in the Matrix. We're going to turn you all into batteries now. I'd rather be dead, thank you. I don't want to be a battery. I'm not the Energizer Bunny. I don't keep going and going and going. Eventually, I have to be recharged or replaced.
Yeah, ain't no copper top here, baby.
But I think one of the really great things about what John Carpenter was able to do with this film is he took the simple premise of an alien monster movie and he turned it into a examination of what happens to people when they're in a claustrophobic and paranoid environment. And he did it, I think, very, very well. I know this movie at the time didn't make a whole lot of money, but it has very long legs, and it has really gained I think, a very large cult following.
It
And
has.
I can,
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I'm agreeing with you. I think it has become a cult classic,
Oh
to
yeah.
put it in that term.
Well, this wasn't John Carpenter's first foray into either monster movies or even necessarily um sci-fi. I mean, just a few years after this, he would do Starman, which went on to get an Oscar nomination. I can't remember for what exactly, but it did get a nomination. Didn't win, but it got nominated. So hey, there's that plus there.
And it got a TV show.
Yeah. So I'll bring up Daniel's comment here real quick. That's always funny to explore when society's norms are broken down. That very well executed in zombie and post apocalyptic movies. Yep, Daniel, I'd agree with that. And I'll bring up Leeson's comment here. A Jewish survivor said to his son, "Put all your friends in a cell locked in with not enough food." After the son has said to his friend, After the son has said, his friends mocked him, and the father replied like that. I think I get what you're saying, Eastland. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, and Daniel, I think with good reason, because the creature design is the thing that really stands out. Now, I will say this: I think the performances by the actors, which I listed off just a few minutes ago, I think they were exceptionally good. I mean, for a seemingly low budget psychological sci-fi monster movie, the performances by these guys was good. I mean, I think honestly, like I said, I think they were very good. And obviously this wasn't Kurt Russell's first time working with John Carpenter. He had worked on with Escape from New York. He had obviously done this one with him. He would go a few years later. He would do one with a boy. Excuse me. All-time favorites, Big Trouble in Little China. And that's the great thing about an actor and a director who get along well together and who trust one another and who enjoy working with the other. They will get their best performances out of that person. And yeah, Issa Brookholder, we all love Kurt Russell because Kurt Russell himself,
Gotta
well,
love Kurt Russell, man. Big Trouble in
yeah.
Little China. Gotta love him.
Like I said, one of my all-time favorite movies. But Carpenter has done several creature features throughout his career. Obviously, he did The Fog. He did The Thing. He did another one that I was actually a big fan of. I know it didn't do particularly well at the theaters, but it is still one of my all-time favorite films. Ghosts of Mars. And
Ghost of Mars. I've heard of that. I need to watch that. I forgot he
I
was in
think
that.
on sci-fi, I think you would really enjoy it. You know what you need to do tomorrow and Friday. You need to have yourself a John Carpenter double feature. You need to watch The Thing,
Well,
and you need to.
actually, I do. I do need to do that. The problem is, I work. I got to run my hardware store tomorrow and Saturday, so
Well, watch them
it's.
after you get home from work. They're a great way to
Mm,
unwind.
yeah, they are. Or at work, and then unwind after I get home. It's literally, and I can do that between people coming in because it's just a little store downtown. So,
Yeah.
and I have
Well,
cowbell
hey
on both
Daniel.
doors.
Hey Daniel, I don't know if you know this or not. If you go under my director spotlight playlist, one of my very first spotlights, which wasn't unintentionally when I celebrated crossing 200 subscribers, I did a stream talking about the films of John Carpenter in detail, and John Carpenter, like I said, he has been, will always be he will be in my top 10 of my all time favorite directors, because he does movies that intrigue me. They're always kind of.
Oh, is that the one with Ice Cube? I might have seen that years ago. I might have just forgot about it. Okay.
Ghost of Mars is the one with Pam Grier. She has a cameo. It's got Clea Duvall. It's got Jason Statham. It's got Ice Cube. It also has Natasha Henstridge.
Okay, I did see that. Yeah, years ago. I gotta watch that again to refresh my memory. That was a good movie. I love that movie. Yes, I gotta watch that again. Thank you for reminding me he was in it. Now I know what movie you're actually talking about. That's a good movie.
Yeah. Joanna Cassidy was also in it as well. I don't know if that name means anything to you, but I think she was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was. She was one of the survivors from the camp that the Martian ghosts had already taken over and destroyed.
Well, Jason Statham, that name means more to me than hers, but that's only because I've seen a lot of his movies.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, as soon as he said Ice Cube, I was like, yes, he was in a Martian movie. I remember that.
Yeah, he played he played a character named Desolation Williams, if I remember correctly.
It's just been so long since I've seen it. Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
I think it was actually one of Carpenter's last directorial films that he did before, like I said, he went to semi-retirement or whatever. Because he ain't exactly a spring chicken no more, but he still does work from time. He does still do some movies from time to time. But the other, I have to admit, the first time I ever watched The Thing, I didn't get all of the layers that I get now as an older person. I went into it just simply for the story, and the creatures, and because, well, it's Kurt Russell, and who doesn't want to see Kurt Russell kick ass?
That's I grew up in the '80s watching Kurt Russell kicking butt, just like I did with Stallone and Arnold and all them guys, right? The Escape from Brooklyn or not Brooklyn, but New York and L.A.
Escape from
yeah, there and there's like
don't get me
unrelated
started.
movie called Escape from Queens, which is on Prime right now too. It's not related to those Kurt Russell movies, but it's still kind of fun to watch. But those are all the kick butt guys that you watch when you wanted that action hero type of stuff, and that's why people watch Kurt Russell, right? I mean, he's kind of typecast that way, but he does a good job at it. So, and when he does it in a Carpenter movie,
he does even better.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Of all the actors that Carpenter has worked with, Kurt Russell is right up there, because Russell did The Thing, he did Escape from New York and L.A., and I think there's and he did Big Trouble from Little China.
Yeah.
So that says something about the level of respect and trust that somebody like Kurt Russell has for a director like John Carpenter. And I know a lot of people would say, well, Carpenter just just do schlocky, cheesy, campy monster movies. Partially, yes.
Partially, but
he has also created some really interesting characters. And I have to say, in The Thing, obviously, McCready, Kurt Russell's character, and Keith David's character, and I can't remember the name of the one actor off the top of my head, but he's kind of the boss of the whole base. There in the Antarctic for the U.S. I liked his character as well, and I love the fact that Knowles is on roller skates pretty much through the entirety of the picture. I did. I absolutely loved that fact. And it just goes to show the Carpenter knows how to cast, and he knows how to get the best out of his performers when the time comes.
Yes, he does. I found the name of that Vincent Price movie I was looking for earlier. I told you I was going to beat up my brain till I found it. House on Haunted Hill.
Oh yeah, I'm actually going to be talking about that Sunday.
And yet another reason for me to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about the original black and white. And I'm going to talk about the remake that they did back, I think, it was like the late '90s or the early 2000s. The one with
the only two versions I found on Prime were the black and white and then the restored color version. But it's still Vincent Price. It's the black and white just restored into color.
Well, they actually did, and we can discuss this just a little bit. They did a remake back, like I said, I think it was like in the late '90s or early 2000s. I'll have to do some research for Sunday so I can be sure. But they had Jeffrey Rush, Famke Jensen, Chris Kattan, Ali Larder, Taye Diggs. Who else? I can't remember who else was in the remake. But honestly, for me, the remake isn't horrible. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. And it's also an interesting take on the whole origin of why the house is evil. Okay. Why the house is haunted.
Yeah, the story, absolutely.
Yeah. Now I will say, in terms of the Vincent Price version, it tells just as good of a story as the other one does. So, what have we got here?
Just it's just the description. Yeah. So this is on Prime.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have the black and white version, but they also have the restored color version from 1958. So
cool.
Yep. So when I watch it, this is the one I'll be watching.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and so I mean, if I have a chance to watch something that old that's restored to color, I'm going to watch the color version.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against black and white, but if it's restored and in color and it's the same movie, why not? Right? That's just me, though.
No, that I think that's a perfectly valid position to have sci-fi. So, yeah, Daniel. Like I said, I'm next couple of days. I'm gonna be doing a lot of discussions on horror movies. Tomorrow, Saturday night, I'm actually gonna do a watch party for another '80s favorite of mine, Critters, and then we're gonna, and then we're gonna wrap up All Hallows Eve with a discussion on the original and the remake of House on Haunted Hill. We'll discuss the movies. We'll discuss if the remake is just as good as the original, and all sorts of stuff like that. So
I'm not sure if the remake is on Prime. If it is, I'll watch it. But I'm definitely watching the original, the Vincent Price version.
Yeah, I will say this just in brief. I think the cast for the remake was actually very good. I think the writing was a little lacking, but I think the performances and the atmosphere, and not to mention to see these actors and actresses play in this particular sandbox, was actually a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, you got Jeffrey Rush, you got Famke Jensen, you got Taye Diggs, you got Elliot Larder, you've got Chris Kattan.
Yeah, Chris Kattan, who played in Night at the Roxbury, if anybody remembers that movie.
Yep, I do. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm. That's like one of the only Will Ferrell movies I like, by the way, besides Talladega Nights. I'm not a Will Ferrell fan by any means at all, okay? Call me blasphemous, but I do not like that guy. I do not like him as an actor. I just don't. I think he's overblown. But there are a couple movies I like him in. Night at the Roxbury is one.
Yeah.
And Talladega Nights is the second one.
Oh, hey, perfectly fair. So, but you know, one of the reasons I love talking about these older movies is there's a timelessness to them. There is a authenticity that you don't see. You do see it, but you don't see it as often in modern cinema as you do in older cinema. And that's why I appreciate, granted, I grew up in a very unconventional home. After my father died, my mother and my grandmother raised me. And It's Price. Okay, Price. I said this to a fellow YouTuber that you and I both know we've streamed with, Orange Hat Reviews. The thing I haven't seen that in a long time. Price. After my stream is over, which we're probably gonna wrap up here in a little bit. Go get your ass and go watch the freaking Thing. And I just want to say shout to a fella that I just got to stream with earlier this week. Tim's talk. Tim, is good to see you, bud. Thank you for popping by.
What's up, Tim?
And,
good to see you, bud.
And Tim, happy. I know I got to tell you this Monday night, but happy birthday. Hope you had a great one, bud. So
absolutely.
But Price, if you don't go, and this goes for you too. Well, I know Jeff isn't in here anymore, but Jeff B, you catch us on the replay, and Price, this is for you as well. If you don't go see Dune, Jeff B, and if you don't watch, The Thing.
Wait, which Price, The Thing? Yeah, this version is on Prime right now.
The 1982 John Carpenter, The Thing. You're going to awaken this side of the ambassador, and this is the side of the ambassador you don't want to awaken. Don't make me angry. You won't like me.
Angry. You won't like him when he's angry. We need to get you a Hulk thing for that.
Nah. Price, you darn well better go see Dune if you haven't already. Especially now that they've announced that they're going to be making part 2. So,
and just to be clear, this John Carpenter version of The Thing is on Prime. It might say that it's made later than 1982, but Prime does it sometimes for reasons that I don't understand why.
Well, this is actually coming off of IMDb. So IMDb is where
I know, but that. I know. I'm just saying Prime will say it was like they'll take a late 50s or late 60s film and say it was made in the 2000s just because something was done to it just to improve the quality a little bit, right? And it's like, no, just look up The Thing, John Carpenter. It's on Amazon Prime right now. If you have that, you can watch it. No problem.
Exactly. And hey, Tim, you can always claim some responsibility because if you remember, we talked about just doing it, and well, a few days later, they're doing it. So hey, we called it, so to speak. I had Daniel Martin. Don't make it Master go full Eastwood. No. Darn it, I don't have a drop for that character. I wish I did. Damn it.
Yeah, feeling lucky? Punk?
No, it's not that character. Let's see if I can find.
No Dirty Harry, huh?
I wish, but no. No, don't make me. Well.
Are you talking about the guy?
Don't make me suit up.
Oh, Tony Stark. All right.
Don't make me suit up. Or don't make me throw on this suit either.
I am Batman.
Oh goodness, you pack of goons. Let's see, Tip Price. Honestly, I've never seen you angry because you always sound comedic on streams, bro. Price, more or less, yes, I am. If you ever hear me like quote unquote angry, part of it is I'm kind of playing it up a little bit. Like I am angry, but I'm not. But
yeah, I've only seen Ambassador angry one time on a stream, and holy cow, the words coming out of that guy's mouth. And he never does that.
That wasn't so much me angry. That was me just roasting an ass.
Yeah, but still, I'd never seen you go off like that before or since. And I'm just like,
no.
Remind me never to irritate the ambassador to that point.
No, because you won't like what I say. So, well, hey, guys, I think we are, like I said, this wasn't going to be a super long stream tonight because I just wanted to talk about the thing for a little bit. And I do want to let you all know a few things before we do wrap up for the evening. Next month is going to be Matrix Vember. We're going to be discussing the films of the Matrix series in preparation for Matrix Resurrections that comes out in December. So be sure to tune in for those. I've got those planned out and everything for a couple of weeks in November. I'll also be bringing you a review of The Eternals, which I am going to go see regardless of what Rotten Tomatoes or a pack of critics have to say about it. I'm going to go see Eternals and I'm going to judge it for myself. So be sure to tune in for that stream as well. And I do want to let you all know, for those of you that I have kept in the loop on this, I am wrapping up writing my Star Wars fan fiction, and I will be working on the promotion and casting and all of that for my fan fiction, which I am going to, which I have, as I have long said, is going to be it's going to be an internet drama. It's going to be a live read, and I hope what I have created for you all will enjoy. I have poured a lot of time and blood and sweat and tears into this story, and because I wanted it to be the very best that I could make it, because it's dedicated to the man who got me involved in Star Wars, who made me a fan of it in the first place, and that was, of course, my father ambassador. So, and that will be coming up in December because I want to kind of coincide that with the release of Book of Boba Fett. So, just like the Dead on Christmas Story, I'll bring up Price's comment here. No offense, I would never take you seriously as Batman with how comedic you are in the cow. I would bust out laughing. Yeah, Price, I wouldn't blame you if you did. So, and yes, Daniel Martin, The Matrix. Yeah, I'm gonna be going from the Animatrix all the way through to Matrix Revolution. So, like I said, I'll be those videos have been posted. So if you see them pop up, make sure you hit the reminders so that until you don't miss. And of course, if any of you want to join me for those reviews, as with tonight and as always with anything that with most of this content that I make, the link will be in the chat. So if you want to pop in and talk with me, it will be there. So, and Daniel, this fan fiction has been a labor of love because I love Star Wars, and I was very disappointed with how the sequel trilogy turned out by and large. And regardless of however many retcons Lucasfilm wants to do, you can't retcon something that's already wrecked.
I, for one, can't wait to see what story you came up with. And two, I think you have a great voice for doing reading, so I cannot wait to hear that.
Well, now here's the thing, Sci-Fi. I did upload the first 5 parts onto my channel. I did do them either as live streams or as uploads. You can find them under a playlist titled Ray Who, but the title of my story has changed. The focus of this particular story was on Ray, but I also wanted to tell the story. I wanted to tell the story. I wanted to tell Finn's story, the story that I think he deserved, and I wanted to tell Ben's story, the story I think he deserved, and I wanted to tell Luke's story, the story that he deserved, and Leia and all the others. And the crazy thing is, I have unintentionally laid the seeds to tell parts 1 and 2 of this story. I've just got to go and write them now because
you laid your own foundations. You were your own muse. That is a gift, my friend.
I give me a minute. I will share a small portion of this with you all. I've got to pull up my Microsoft Word. So, but just give me a minute, guys. I plan on doing a full stream on this. I'm going to be reaching out to other channels to get other people involved because I want to cast this. I want to cast all the characters. And
So
I
you
want
want
to
to
do
cast
this.
the voices when you do the read
Yes.
through? Now that's different.
Yes.
That
I
is
want
original.
to do this as
That's original. I love that idea.
the reason why I wanted to do it this way is because the Star Wars fandom is a fandom I have been a part of even before the whole idea of the fandom itself was a thing. And
well, I think a lot of us were Star Wars fans before there was such a thing as
fandom,
quote unquote fandom, right? So,
but for me, there has been so much division and so much
BS
and so much
over the last 3 years
that I wanted to create something that could hopefully, at least in some small way, repair this fandom that I love.
You want to do for Star Wars what fan films did for Trek between Enterprise and the Trek we have nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was bring the fans together and give us something to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I can't say a whole lot because I'm not under an NDA, but I've been working on a project with another YouTube. Well, he's not so much on YouTube. He sort of is, but I helped advise on a fan film script for a film on a EU character, and that's all I'll say right now.
Which is fine. Don't speak out of turn.
I wouldn't necessarily get in trouble or anything. I'm waiting for go ahead on certain things before I do say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely. And I don't blame you. Can you bring up Daniel's comment there real quick? The last one he posted, if you can.
Daniel, that would be a cold day in hell.
Oh.
No. That will be an absolute positively cold day in hell. No. And that's not me joking.
No. And actually, that's my bad for having you pull that up because...
No, it's okay.
Swiss cheese brain, I forgot. So, sorry, that's all I'm going to say about it.
No, it's okay. It's all right. Oh, wait a minute. It's up. Okay, hang on. No, what I'll read you all won't necessarily be a spoiler or anything. I'll read you the intro because I wrote a proper intro for this. So that's all, and that's what I'll read you to kind of give you a little taste of what I've made.
Go ahead. I
can tell you this won't be a major spoiler. The title of my the title of my fan fiction is The Unity of the Force. A Star Wars fan fiction by yours truly. Here's the intro, which you can envision as an opening crawl or whatever. I may actually have a friend of mine who can do that sort of thing, make this up as a crawl.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Sci-fi. This is one time I'm going to be a smidgen rude. Shut up. Over a year has passed since the events on Crate. Across the galaxy, the First Order and New Republic rebuild their forces in an effort to liberate or enslave the citizens caught in their ongoing conflict. On the world of Ahch-To, Luke Skywalker has been guiding the young Force wielder Rey, aiding her in the development of her skills in the Force. Bringing fresh insight into Rey's training, Luke, along with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, have sought to break the cycle of conflict that has existed among the adherents of the Force. Kylo Ren, for months, has been plagued by a voice in his mind, beckoning him to the unknown regions of the galaxy. Leaving the shipyards and headquarters of Fondor, he travels to a world nearly forgotten by the galaxy. A world whose name makes people's blood run cold. Exegol. That's the intro.
I like it. What was the name of the planet again? Exegol?
Yeah, it was actually. I have taken bits and pieces from the Rise of Skywalker and a few other things that I thought were okay. Let's see.
And you plan on doing, like you said you wanted like people to do the voices, so like you're going to be holding some type of audition type of thing.
I've got a few people who have already expressed interest. That's going to be first come first serve. Those parts are already done. The remainder will be I will be reaching out. I will be saying, hey, if you want to audition for a particular part, here's your opportunity. Here's the script. Show me what you got.
I'd like a chance at that. If you think I got the chops for it.
Well, I'll send you once I make an formal announcement on this, and I start the.
Just saying, I've had public speaking and speech classes. My speaking is I've never had acting classes, but my speaking when I am doing stuff for crowds is much better than when I do my live streams or my videos. So, just saying. I don't know why. It's just when I do stuff like that for those reasons, I speak a lot better. I don't know why. It just is. I feel like when I do live streams, I'm just do my videos. I can be myself. I guess.
All right, I do want to read at least a little bit of this. Anything? I mean, it's a 12-part. Well, it's 11. It's an 11. It's a 11-part series. It's like I said, this is a fan fiction. I broke it up into 11 parts to make it manageable.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Give me some. I want to pick a part that isn't going to be like super spoiler heavy, but at the same time, I want to give y'all just a taste of what I've done. Okay, hang on. Okay, this is. Let's see. I'm trying. You know what? No. Hang on. Because I did something with my story that others weren't willing or able or talented enough to do. I made Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, actually interesting. All right. This is from part 6 of my fan fiction. And I won't do the parts, but I think you'll figure out who's talking here.
Yep, we're listening. We're listening.
Okay. The two individuals that are speaking are Ben and his grandfather. That's all I'll say. So, anyway, all right. This will be a bit of a cold read, guys. I'll try and put some inflection on this. Yeah, Daniel Martin, there is no dead speaks here. The dead are dead, so to speak. Okay. Ben's gaze is fixed on the ghost of his grandfather. Dumbstruck that after all the horrendous acts he has carried out, the man he revered his whole life stands before him. Numerous thoughts race through his mind as he seeks answers as to why Vader, Anakin, is before him now. Why are you here, grandfather? Because your mother, your uncle, and myself still believe in you. Luke never cared about me. Only his academy. He didn't treat me like family. Just another student. My parents abandoned me. All that I am, I did myself. It's Kylo Ren that the galaxy fears. It's the First Order that will bring stability. And unlike you, thoughts of family do not cloud my vision. I embrace power. I embrace the path that Vader walked. That's Snoke talking, not you. He has poisoned you against your own family, manipulates you much the same way I was. Ben, listen to me. You've gone down a road far too many myself have traveled. Ben starts to speak, falls silent. I am your path to power and knowledge. They have nothing for you. They fear the power you wield. This fool was weak and chose compassion over strength. Sensing Snoke's presence in Ben's mind, Anakin tries to reach his grandson. My friend, my mentor, Obi-Wan, tried to reach me all those years ago on Mustafar. But I was too blinded by fear and ambition to listen. I caused the death of my wife, your grandmother. Killed people I called brother and sister. Learn from my mistakes, Ben. Don't repeat them. You were weak and afraid, and I used that against you to turn you to the dark side. With Sidious's aid. Through Ben's mind, Anakin seeks to peer into Snoke's. For a moment, he succeeds. I know this presence. I know you. Both of you be silent, Ben screams. With his mind stilled, he contemplates his choices. Eternal life is within my grasp. All I have to do is bring Rey and Luke to him. I can destroy the Republic, Luke, and Snoke once I have what I want from him. The galaxy will bend to my will forever. Rey will either join me or I will break her and make her my apprentice. Is eternal life worth the sacrifice of your family and your future? Ben looks at Anakin. His face contorted in an expression of doubt and anger, concealed by his mask. Ben struggles with the conflict within himself, as light and shadow clash in his soul. It isn't that easy. Luke will never forgive me for my betrayal, for destroying the school, killing my friends, and turning some of them into the Knights of Ren. For killing Dad. That moment flashes in his mind. How would I face them? Ben, we want you to come home. Your uncle and I discussed this. Your mother loves you, believes in you. Do you know what she said before she died? Ben shakes his head. My son will see you dead, and together with my brother, the First Order will be cast into ruins. Your mother knew there is still hope for you, just as Luke did for me. Put aside Kylo. Come home. Silence falls in Ben's quarters. He's right, Ben. A familiar voice whispers. Tears well in his eyes. A thought comes to his mind. He begins to weep heavily. Suddenly, his calm signals. He composes himself. What is it? Supreme Leader, 2 shells are approaching. Call sign indicates it is your knights. Very well. Give them clearance to dock. Ben shuts off the comm abruptly. So what are you going to do, Ben? A long pause follows Anakin's question. Again, Snoke seeks to influence him. You can succeed where your grandfather failed. You can fulfill the destiny that calls to you. What about your legacy? What about Vader? Ben, don't you understand? I'm not Vader. Nor was he me. At least not entirely. Vader was a prison that Sidious trapped me in. Vader died in the instant when I chose to save my son and daughter, your mother and uncle. My family is my legacy. You are part of it. You have a chance to create your own part of that legacy. Again, Snoke seeks to influence Ben. However, he summons the Force within his mind and drives Snoke out. With his mind his own again, Ben focuses on Anakin. No longer does he see the myth of Vader. Instead, he sees his grandfather, Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight. Activating the lock on his helmet, Ben removes it, lets it drop to the floor. Silence lingers in the room. His grandfather and grandson share a moment. No words are spoken. Then, through the Force, 3 words are uttered. Let's go home. But instead of it being spoken by Anakin, this time, it's by Ben Solo.
Wow. I'm literally sitting there trying to, picture these people talking to each other inside of a Star Wars setting in my mind's eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
And please, don't take this the wrong way. I'm trying to say this in a positive way. You remind me of 2 people I admire greatly that are on this platform. Mm-hmm. One is Vance Major from No Budget Productions.
I know of Vance Major.
Okay,
I know his work.
And Adega Outlaw. The way you're reading that,
I know Adega. I miss Adega. I still regard Adega as a friend, and I regard him as one of the most creative people I've met.
Absolutely. Your reading style reminded me of not only Adega, but also of Vance, the way when he does his narratives in his fan films.
Mm-hmm.
And also when you're doing the actual character reads, you reminded me of Adega. It's wow, dude. Dude, you have talent for, that type of stuff.
I took my knowledge of this universe and what I felt was the story I wanted to see. And I remembered what George said about his movies.
George Cayenne?
No,
or Lucas. Okay,
George Lucas.
Sorry,
Lucas.
I was thinking of a.
No, it's okay.
Bad.
George Lucas. The big GL. Yeah. They rhyme. They flow. They have.
They do. They have structure. The structure is built within the rhyme and the reason and the flow. It all makes sense, even if it doesn't look like it does. It makes sense. I get you, dude. I do.
Okay. I will read you all one more part, and then we are probably going to wrap up. This will be. I know there was a small spoiler in there, and for those of you that have heard this, please do not share that spoiler. I mean, if you want to tell people about what I'm doing, about what you heard here tonight, by all means do so. If you want to go check out parts 1 through 5, which is my rough draft, because this is what I have put out there is not my final draft. It is a rough draft. Parts 1 through 5.
So how about this, Ambassador? We promote parts 1 through 5 and this live stream.
Well, I'm going to do a proper live stream once I get the whole fan fiction edited. Phantom Ambassador is going to be doing that for me. Okay. I've got to put a few finishing touches. I'm going to be passing it off to her. My game plan is to, like I said, make my major announcement in December. That gives her a solid month, roughly. And like I said, I want it to coincide with the Book of Boba Fett because it's Star Wars, and everybody knows Star Wars is my thing. I love Star Wars to death. But let me hang on.
I'd still love to do a reading for you sometime. If you want to send me something and have me record it and send it back to you, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. I know. If I can find the part I want, I'll read that part. Give me just a minute. Here it is. Okay. All right. This is actually from part 3 of my fan fiction. It's earlier on in the story. And this involves a character from the series Rebels. Oh, for heaven's sakes, what's his face? Well, his name's right here. Where are you? Where are you, bud? Oh, General Callis. Well, Agent Callis, now a general for the New Republic military. And a character of my own creation. She is a female Chiss officer who has come from the Chiss Ascendancy with a group that is working with the New Republic. So, because a little bit of backstory, the Chiss got screwed over by the First Order, and they're rightfully pissed. And this new character, which is actually a character I created, it's a female Chiss officer by the name of Burdett. And a little family history. The name Burdett is actually in reference to my maternal great-grandmother's maiden name. So, anyways, here is part of part 3 of Unity of the Force. Manon, a world once far removed from the goings-on of the galaxy. Now one of many headquarters for the New Republic. Stepping forward after the destruction of the main headquarters of the New Republic, the government of Manon declared its alliance with the Republic. Within months, numerous refugees flocked to this world, seeking refuge, and in turn have turned this into a fortress against the tyranny of the First Order. Among those who answered the call was a group from the Chiss Ascendancy, made up of some of the best military and technical minds from that corner of space. One Chiss in particular has brought clarity and a unified vision to the New Republic military. Simply known as Burdett, she has spent months working with the New Republic leadership to formulate plans and guide the development of ships to combat the First Order military. Like most Chiss, she bears the piercing red eyes and blue hue skin. However, rather than the pitch black hair, she stands out from her companions and has pure white hair, pulled back into a simple but lovely ponytail. Looking out over the endless sea that makes up the surface of the world, Burdett takes some time in solitude to meditate and collect her thoughts. You look deep in contemplation, Burdett, a familiar voice utters. General Callis, what brings you out here? She replies. The same reason I'd wager you're here. The quiet. She nods in agreement. Over the last few months, Callis and Burdett have formed a strong bond based on results and respect. Coordinating raids and acquiring much-needed tech and personnel for the New Republic, the former Imperial officer and Chiss colonel have gained a well-deserved reputation. How's construction on the Solo-class destroyers coming? She inquires. The first 20 will be ready before the week is out. Excellent. I won't lie to you, Burdett. The idea of cannibalizing Star Destroyers and Mon Cala cruisers to create a new class of ships seemed radical to many of us. Burdett turns to Callis. And what do you think now that they are close to completion? He walks to the railing and peers out. He walks to the railing of the pier and gazes out towards the horizon. I think you Chiss are brilliant. In some ways terrifying, but brilliant. It's a shame the New Republic didn't approach your people sooner. That it took the fall of our main base to allow an alliance with the New Republic and your people. The Chiss are strong, but not strong enough alone to face the First Order. Thrawn knew this. That's why he made his deal with Palpatine. To protect us. And is that why your group is here? To protect the Chiss from the New Republic? No. We saw an opportunity. Some of our leaders thought to use this opportunity to bring down the New Republic and acquire more territory. However, better minds won out, and we saw this as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves and the Republic. As Callis and Burdett look out over the sea, he raises a question. And all the time we've worked together, there's been something on my mind. What's the meaning behind your name? A slight grin appears on her face. My name is uncommon among my people. While all Chiss names do have a meaning, mine is an oddity. There is a predator on my world that we both revere and fear. Its intelligence borders on near sentience. During my youth, a group of us decided to attempt to stalk and kill one of these creatures. They are called Burrs. We set a series of traps to injure the creature. Unfortunately, several of us, myself included, were injured or killed by the burr. Eventually, we were able to corner the animal and end its life. I struck the killing blow, and my friends who survived the hunt named me Burdette. In my name, in my language, it means burr slayer. Callus looks on in amazement. You mean a group of younglings went out on their own and hunted a deadly animal just for the fun of it? That's madness. You mean you never did anything reckless growing up, General? Yes, of course I did, but never hunting something that could kill me. As our conversation continues, a group of Selkath approach, accompanied by a protocol droid. Excuse us, General. Colonel, but our long-range sensors have detected a group of first-order ships approaching the defense perimeter. Burdette inquires. How many ships? What type? 4 dreadnought class and one command ship, the Selkath reply. Callus and Burdette share a look. This is a problem. We faced worse, and we know why they're here. They're trying to destroy the new ships, Burdette replies. We need to scramble our fighters and call in the local fleet. The local fleet isn't going to be enough to stop a force of that size, Burdette replies. What do you suggest, Colonel? Get me in contact with Major Torfell at the shipyard. Following a protocol droid and the Selkath to a nearby comm terminal, Burdette opens the channel. Torfell, this is Burdette. Do you read me? This is Torfell. Go ahead, Colonel. How many destroyers could we deploy right now? We have incoming first order. 3, maybe 4 at the most. Callus and Burdette share a glance. It could be enough. Do we have enough personnel to crew these ships? Callus asks. Unfortunately, General, no, we do not. A member of the Selkath entourage approaches the officers and addresses them. The governor states that his people are willing to aid in the defense. Inform the governor, we graciously accept his offer. As both parties part to prepare for the coming battle, Burdette and Callus pause for a moment. Well, we were planning to test the new destroyers anyway. I guess a trial by fire is as good as any. Are you worried, General? Were you worried when you and your friends hunted that burr? Even Chiss feel concern and uncertainty, but we take that and use it to our advantage. It hides our reflexes and allows us to see numerous outcomes, both those in our favor and against. I can't wait to see a worried Chiss in action, Callus replies jokingly. Pray you're never on the opposite side, my friend. Remember what Thrawn did to the Republic. Leaving the comm center, Callus and Burdette board a shuttle bound for the shipyards orbiting a moon near Manon. Disembarking from the shuttle onto separate ships, Callus and Burdett enter the bridges, establish contact with the other two destroyers. The 4 massive ships depart from their docks and gather with the rest of the New Republic fleet located around Manon. Each solo-class destroyer exceeds the dimensions of an Imperial Super Star Destroyer and carries enough firepower to engage at least a pair of Imperial 2 Star Destroyers. In addition, the ship incorporates the next generation of Mon Cala shielding technology, employing energy absorbing shields that can redirect incoming fire to weapons, shields, and propulsion. Burdett to Callus, do you read? Affirmative, Burdett. You're coming in clear. Myself and Callus will take the lead. Order the fleet to take up position in support of the destroyers. Let's see if these first order types can be reasoned with. This is Vice Admiral Heth of the First Order. You are ordered to surrender at once. Admiral Heth, this is Colonel Burdett. Manon is under New Republic protection. I advise you to leave the system immediately. Your puny fleet doesn't stand a chance. We will swat you just as the First Order did on Crate. Close comm channel with the First Order ship and get me online with General Callus. Well, that was pointless, Callus remarks. As the two fleets engage, massive salvos of energy are exchanged, as well as fighters from the New Republic and First Order are locked in a heated dogfight. Slowly, the First Order advance comes to a halt. However, the command of the First Order is resolute in pressing on. This is General Callus to Vice Admiral Heth. Stand down, and we will take your crew into custody. You need not die today. The First Order does not surrender. Callus lowers his head in disappointment. Burdett to Callus. Go ahead, Burdett. I have an idea. You want to see just how much of a beating these new ships can take? I am game if you are. What's your idea? I want to flank the command ship, and then we pulverize that ship from stem to stern. I like it. But let's drop some mines around those ships. And once we're out of range, let's just see how much of a punch these ships really have. Impressive, General. Brutal. And ingenious. You would make a good Chiss. Helm set course for the First Order command ship. As the pair of New Republic ships advance, the true strength of these new vessels becomes apparent. Exchanging fire with the dreadnoughts, every drop of fire is fed into the generators, and then returned with devastating effect. Reaching the stern and bow of the command ship, Callus and Burdett enact their plan and strafe the ship. As they complete their maneuver and hastily return to the New Republic lines. Would you like the honors, Burdett? No, Callus. This was your idea. The honor is yours. Fire control. Detonate the mines. Within seconds, the First Order command ship is engulfed in a second firestorm and destroyed. This is Captain Gable of the Slayer. Please hold your fire. We surrender. We accept your surrender, Captain. Prepare to be brought to the surface. Acknowledged. Okay.
Impressed would be putting it lightly. You have a talent, my friend. That's I don't know how else to put it.
Let's see. Sci-Fi Nation. The rank of were you meant to say the First Order officer?
I was saying what? Oh, the one that was
the First Order. The First
yeah,
Order
the one
officer.
that was saying we have an incoming ship, and it's like no, we have an incoming ship. Relative course. You don't say it like this. You need to make sure people can hear you. You don't want to talk like this. No, we have an incoming ship bearing such. I'm just like, oh, why are they saying it so like nonchalantly? Like, oh,
well,
I just completed a diagnostic.
It wasn't meant to be nonchalant, but the thing you have to remember is these are chists. They don't get overly anxious or worried.
No, but still, I mean, if you're going to have somebody in that position, at least make sure they can inform you. and I get this is Star Wars, so I'm still getting my head back into the Star Wars universe as far as that goes. But still, if you're going to have somebody in that position, make it somebody that has a voice that you're going to discern above the others.
Well, I'm trying to do all these parts, so I can only do so much with one voice.
Right. And that's why I said I'm more than happy to read for you for whatever part. I don't care. I just want to be a part of something that is something that my friend is doing. I want to help them and not sabotage it and make it be one of the best things they've ever done in their life.
Well,
and to be a part of that is awesome.
Well, like I said, this I've got a few little just finishing touches to put on this because I just finished the ending a few weeks ago. I'm doing my epilogue and then it'll be done. And yes, I have an epilogue because I won't say much, but I will say this. Rey gets to have the last word. And she gets a last name that actually means something. And no, it's not Skywalker.
Yay, finally.
But she does but she does pick a name from a group that does mean a great deal to her, that she does have a connection to.
Daniel Martin is on his way to work. Just sorry to interrupt, but he is on his way to work and he is still listening in to us. But he is putting in fire.
Yeah,
hands up in the air, fire. Okay,
I see it. So, well, hey, everybody, thank you for. We're gonna go and wrap up though. Thank you for tuning in tonight for our discussion on John Carpenter's The Thing, and for hearing a little bit of my Star Wars fan fiction that I've been working on for over a year now. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the stream just in general. So, want to let y'all know I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with the Council of Ones. We'll be doing our review of Babylon 5 Season 4 with the episode Exercise of Vital Powers. And I will be, like I said, I'll be back Saturday night with Ambassador's Retro Theater. We'll be watching Critters. I'll be renting it on YouTube, but if you want to rent it on your own and watch it along with me, by all means do so. And I will, as always, drop the link in the chat so you can join me on the panel while we watch this. And then to wrap up the Halloween festivities, I'll be doing another retro review on Sunday afternoon of both the Vincent Price and the late 90s remake of House on Haunted Hill. So But that all being said, folks, I hope you all have a great night tonight. Hope you all have a great weekend. I will see you later this weekend. And I want to thank also my good friend, Sci-Fi Nation, here for joining me tonight. Sci-Fi is always a pleasure to have you along with me. Before we go, do you have anything that you want to plug or anything for your channel before we close out?
Just my channel itself. I've been doing some more actual edited videos, so if you guys want to check that out, please do. I did one a couple days ago called What If? The Telltale game, Back to the Future, had a sequel.
Cool.
Yep. And also, before that, I got some awesome merch from another channel called the Notorial Lifeform. So check that out.
I've heard of them.
Unboxing. Yes, check that video out. Check out Notorial Lifeform. Go, if you like what he does, check out my video and then go check him out. If you like what he does, give him a like and a subscribe. He's a really great guy. Just genuine people.
Yeah.
And, just like what we're looking for in this community. So that's why I'm trying to network with people like that. And, absolutely. And I am still doing my live streams. So check that out. If you guys want to check me out, if you like somebody that's been on a goofy side, doesn't mind getting a little wild and a hair up their butt once in a while, later at night, come check me out. During the day, I do keep it respectful. I keep it respectful with my friends to the best of my ability, as Ambassador will tell you.
Yes.
So, come check me out. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like what I do, give me a thumbs down. All I ask is you be honest. That's all I ask.
So, well, anyways, folks, once again, y'all have a great night. And thank you for being here tonight. And if you come across this stream and you enjoyed the discussion and you enjoyed my little shilling of my or promoting of my fan fiction, and you're not part of the Ambassador Wing, consider hitting that subscribe button, because there is always room for another ambassador here in the wing. So until next time.
Hold up real quick, Daniel.
What?
It's the same as my name up here, Sci-Fi Nation. YouTube.com/Sci-Fi Nation. Yep. No dashes, no spaces. YouTube.com/Sci-Fi Nation. The rest of where you can get a hold of me is on there.
Yeah. So, anyways, folks, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. And until next time, these are the ambassadors. Signing off.